person as well as in virtual setting using Zoom. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting tonight on Wave Channel 18 and online through the city's YouTube channel. If you would like to participate in live public comment via the Zoom platform, please refer to the agenda for instructions. Chairman Gilbert will begin the meeting momentarily. Commissioner Eklund,
Here.
Commissioner Eric Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Reedy,
Here.
Vice Chair Hutchinson,
Here.
Chairman Gilbert, Commissioner Jerry Johnson, and Commissioner McKinney did notify us of their absence tonight.
Seeing none, I'll move on to item number 5. Item 5 is public comment on any non-agenda item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. This is opportunity from anybody in the public to address the commission regarding any thoughts you have on anything other than the items that are on our agenda. Do we have anybody in the audience?
Chairman Gilbert, I did not receive any cards and I do not see any hands raised in Zoom.
Thank you. Item number 6 is informational items from the staff.
I have no items to convey.
Okay, thank you.
None here. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, at the request of the vice chairman, we're going to ask for a moment of silence for the turmoil that's going on in the world right now. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of people killed and a lot of people injured, and we always pray for peace. But we'll take a moment to honor those that we've lost in the hope that there will not be any more. Thank you. Item 7, disclosure of ex parte communication. Start down here on this end.
I have none.
Yes, I met with Travis Batts with Papas related to the project on the agenda today.
Thank you.
None.
None.
And the chair has none. Item 8 is the consent calendar. Item 8A, review and approve the August 16th, 2023 meeting minutes. Do we have any changes, additions, or deletions? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion.
I move approval.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Hutchison,
Yes.
Chairman Eric Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Eric Johnson, Commissioner Eklund,
Yes.
Commissioner Reedy,
Yes.
and Chairman Gilbert.
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Now we get to item 9, which are public hearings, and we have one item this evening, which is the BP ARCO in 12 Bridges. I know we're going to have a nice staff report. And so I'll invite the staff to address the public and the commission with your presentation. Do we have people here from the application? Do, good, welcome. We'll give you an opportunity to speak later.
Good evening, Mel Pavlinius. Before you is the proposed BP ARCO in 12 Bridges. I have a brief PowerPoint presentation summarizing the information that's been provided to your commission. The applicants are here tonight, both applicant and property owner. And just today, we have not received any public comments, although we received a couple of comments from your commission, which we can address further if needed.
We'll have some questions for you.
So just a quick overview of the project. This BP ARCO consists of a 3,400 square foot convenience market, a 6,000 square foot fuel canopy, and a 1,100 square foot drive-through car wash. It'll occupy about 1.6 acre of an overall 29 acre property within 12 Bridges. The entitlements consist of a specific development plan and design review, which evaluates the overall design review of the and use of the project. A conditional use permit for the drive-through car wash and the alcohol sales components of the convenience market. Applicant for this project is Ahmad Gaderi of ANS Engineering, and the property owner is Pappas Limited Partnership and Pappas Gateway Limited Partners. Just an aerial photo of the project site. It's in the properties in where the project is supposed to be is outlined in red. There are 2 parcels consisting of 29 acre in total size. It's vacant currently. It is commercially zoned. It does have existing public improvements consisting of sidewalks along the frontage roads of 12 Bridges Drive and Colony Road Drive. And it has landscaping along those 2 frontage roads. It also has access to existing utilities, given that this area has developed over the years. There are many developments existing in the area, consisting of Terracotta Village to the east. You have John Adams over here. You have the Kaiser Hospital, I believe, yeah, right there, Kaiser Hospital. Of course, you have the developments happening on the north side of the property. You have, of course, the high school on the south side, and we have more developments, commercial on the southeast side of the project.
While you have, excuse me, I was going to say, while you have that particular map, recently we approved the early building of an addition to the shopping center that's there.
Yes.
Could you cite that for the commission? And
Yes,
public
sure.
as well?
There are 2 approvals, actually. One was, this is the Terracotta Village over here. And it's a pad C is the remaining pad. The other pads are already developed. This is Leatherby's right here. And I believe this is Walgreens. And then there's other buildings in the same complex. La Quinta Hotel, which your commission approved a parcel map for back over the summer, is going to be right there. That's the La Quinta Hotel.
Great, thank you so much.
Good question, though. That way it gives you a better context of what's existing and what's coming.
I think my fellow commissioners do, but for the public that don't get the information we do, I'd like them to understand the other things that are going in there.
Sure. So I mentioned earlier that the BP ARCO itself will occupy a smaller part of the overall parcel. It's about 1.6 acres in size, which meets the minimum lot size for that zoning of 1 acre. And this is, exists right here, the two parcels involved, recorded parcels. And through a boundary line adjustment as a condition of the project, it would be modified to basically create the configuration of one large parcel, which is large lot B2, and the parcel just for BP is right here. That's the 1.6 acre site. That's needed because there's conditions that are tied to that will be applied to the project. And there's fees associated with that condition that it's tied to the size of the parcel. And BP only is occupying a smaller parcel. It would be unfair to be charged for the larger parcel when their impact is only a smaller part of the overall parcel. That's why a BLA is being conditioned of the project. And as I mentioned here, the BLA is consistent with the standards in terms of parcel size, dimensions, lot width, dimensions. So those are all being done in accordance with the standards. Now going into the actual project, this is the site plan for the project. As I mentioned, there are 3 buildings on site. There's the car wash, which is right there. Convenience market, which is the bigger building right there. And the fuel canopy, which has about 8 gasoline pumps for the south of the convenience market store. So those are the 3 buildings on site that would serve the project. Of course, you have, and I'll show you some elevations. Again, part of your documentation. The designs complies with the standard theme, colors, as well as the use of various elements that's typical of the other buildings that are in the area. It's also similar uses, like in the next door neighbor, you have the Leatherby's. Those are all consistent because they all conform to the GDP standards that's applicable to this area. The design review board, I think Michelle was there last year, considered this project back on the 20th of September, and the DRB committee recommended approval to your commission. It took a while to get it back here because there were some modifications to the site planning of the BP ARCO. As soon as that the changes have taken place, it was fast tracked to get to your commission. That way, we can get the entitlements going, and beyond that will be the permitting process once the entitlements were approved. So, but nevertheless, the DRB is recommending approval to your commission. This is the landscape plan, also part of your documentation, along with the 3 buildings that's shown here. You have access off of right here, access off of 12 Bridges Drive. The other access is off of Colonnade Road, which is just to the northeast of this site plan. There is existing encroachment there right now. There's actually a parking lot on the east side along Colonnade Road that was used for, as I mentioned in staff report, it was used as an off-site sales trailer for one of the development that was happening there. So they occupied that part of the site for that purpose only, but it won't be part of the project other than the actual access that's existing currently there. Landscaping will be utilized on site, providing screening and as well as kind of a vegetation natural look on the site. There will be parking lot as shown here. 21 spaces would be built. And by the way, 4 of those spaces are designated for EV. And actually 2 of them, there's 2 charging units that would serve all 4 stalls. So, and I believe, and I think one of your questions was that what level of charging unit is it? It's level 3. I didn't know much about that until this afternoon when I asked the applicant. And if you have more questions about that, we can go ask the applicant some more about that. As I mentioned earlier, given the built environment in the area, this property would have direct access to water, sewer, drainage, the whole works, including access. One of the components of the project is a drive-through, which per our code, it's subject to a conditional use permit. It's the nature of this drive-through, it's an auto-oriented or service-oriented drive-through. But just by default, it requires a CUP. So that's part of the entitlements being considered tonight. The drive-through is right here. And of course, it goes from here and then into the drive-through car wash. It meets the standards in terms of location, queuing. And the idea is that this CUP analyzes the design of the drive-through because it ensures that it minimizes any or prohibits any impacts to traffic and circulation that would impact, in this case, Toll Bridges Drive. There's no overflow, no spillover onto the public road, which in this case, the site doesn't have a direct access off of Toll Bridges Drive. It'll utilize the access right here. And then the actual access to the site is right there. So it meets the standards as designed for this project. The other component of this project, as with any convenience stores, is the sale of alcohol. Again, this is per our code. It triggers a CUP, more so to ensure that this use is memorialized and established for this use. The nature of this use is that it's not a restaurant, so it's not a bona fide use in that sense. But nevertheless, a CUP is required to memorialize the use of a sale of alcohol. And again, the standards have been met as proposed. We've also consulted the police department, making sure that we have some idea on their input with regards to any activities in the area that could saturate the alcohol sales. But the PD said that they don't have any issues with this particular location. It's manageable with regards to alcohol sales incidents in this area. Staff provided in your report an analysis of the project for consistency with the general plan, with Toll Bridges plan, general development plan, zoning code. Those have all been checked and justified in the staff report. The DRB also recommended approval, as I mentioned earlier, to your commission. It is exempt from CEQA analysis for the CEQA analysis because this project is consistent with the certified environmental impact report for the specific plan. There are mitigation measures that will be applied to this. So as part of staff review, moving forward is that any of those mitigation measures will be verified for compliance as they move forward with their construction. Along with the mitigation measures, there are conditions of approval, and those are all attached in your resolutions. I don't remember how many there are, but there's 3 sets of resolutions, and in each set, there is an accompanying condition of approval. As detailed in my staff report, staff recommends the following: that the Plan Commission find the project to be exempt from further environmental review based on consistency with the Toll Bridges Specific Plan EAR, and adopt the resolutions with conditions approving the BPR go in Toll Bridges project as detailed in your staff report. If you have any questions for myself or the applicant, I'm more than happy to accommodate.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I have one quick question. I had an inquiry from a friend and neighbor who has electric vehicles. And when he read the public notice, he asked me if we were going to have any charging stations. I was told there was going to be 3. From what I understand, we're saying now there's 2, but they'll service 4 cars.
It's
Is that correct?
It-
I assume there'd be parking,
there.
isolated parking for 4 cars using 2 charging facilities.
Yes, so it's not the best exhibit here because it's kind of blurry, but definitely we could ask Ahmad some more. But the 4 stalls are this 1, 2, 3, and I believe 4. And then somehow they share this two plugs.
Sure.
one for each side. And then that serves the four.
Yeah,
But
just like gas pumps.
yeah.
They have both sides. But I just want to know, because I'm going to have to get back to him and tell him if we approve this project, that there is going to be four
Yeah.
instead of three. He'll be
Yeah.
happy.
There are total 21 stalls, and then out of those, 4 would be designated for the
Great,
EVs.
thank you. I'm now going to ask the commission if you have any questions. Start down this end for staff, please.
Sure. One, thank you for the EV clarification for earlier. I'm looking at the landscaping plan and I think it kind of answers my question, but maybe you can just reaffirm. So when I drove by there, there's an existing short wall and existing landscaping that runs from the corner to the current driveway that goes to nowhere. It seems like all of that's going to stay and then we're going to have this stuff new. I just wanted to confirm that everything that I saw there today is going to be there afterwards.
Yes, I believe the way it's designed right now, there's a detached landscaping as well along the sidewalk. Those are all within the public PUEs. Anything that happens on the project will then, of course, will be on the private side of the development. But yeah, anything that's on this side, on the public, that as it exists, those will remain.
So the wall and the current trees.
The wall, I believe the wall too will remain, yes, everything will remain, and we can get confirmation of that.
Very easy. Michelle, please.
Thank you. And again, thank you for all the detailed information. And yes, I do remember reviewing it at the DRB. One comment that I had that adds to John's information regarding the landscape plan. I think it's excellent. I think I probably said something about that last year, that once they grow up, it'll all be very attractive in that corner. I had a question also, which I think I've answered, which deals with the circulation plan for the car wash. I was having trouble looking at it and trying to understand how the cars, went around and avoided each other. I just spent some time at the Raley's shopping center where the Bank of America is, and I always swear because that is such a challenge. And so it looks like this is planned well, that the cars come in on what is to my right, goes through the car wash, and then it can just have an egress out very simply. There's no, if I'm correct in assuming that, okay.
Yes, it ensures that there's no conflicts.
Yes,
within-
and stacking would
Yes,
not be a
The
concern.
stacking is actually measured the way minimum for this particular drive-through, minimum 10 stalls. And the way it's defined in our standard is measured, oddly enough, it's measured from the back of sidewalk.
Mhm.
And then so I got my plan, I did my measurements, I counted 10 of them up to the end, up to the actual car wash building. I mean, ultimately, there'll be, it's not like the drive-through is more of a subordinate use to the gas pumps and, use and fuel sale, as well as maybe subordinate to the convenience store. It's more of just an added service to it. And then maybe the applicant can comment further, but it's typically, it's not that it doesn't cause a lot of traffic. And nevertheless, it's big enough, it meets the lot size as far as setbacks. And of course, it's along with the kind of the dead space, if they're not being used, you have the fuel station. It can accommodate any extra queuing if it becomes busy there. But a minimum, it meets the 10 stalls required by the standards.
Great. And then just one other, really a comment maybe for the future, is that we've had a lot of construction and building in that area. We have the high school, we have the hotel coming in, we have the gas, the water, all of that. When was the last traffic analysis report done? Is there, I think a traffic analysis report was done many years ago, if I remember correctly. And I don't know if it's one that we should have. I'm just thinking of the traffic with all of the 12 bridges coming in now. There's gridlock at certain hours because of the high school there. And then, of course, the John D. Morgan. And so I'm just throwing that out for a future time if we should be looking or at a traffic analysis.
Noted. I'm not sure, is there anything that changed in the planning there that would necessitate that though, or
I
is there,
don't
because
know.
it should have been, I mean, those uses were planned out.
Yeah.
And then they would have been, the trip generation would have been, assessed and then analyzed. and then-
It seemed to me the last time that there was discussion about this, it dealt with the traffic coming down off of 12 Bridges down to Joyner from the other side. And there was some speed analysis, things that were done at that time. And there were some concerns with lighting and all of that. And that is the last time that I remember any discussion about this. And there may have been traffic analysis reports done, 15, 20 years ago that would have taken into consideration all of the building that is coming in. But I just wanted to throw it out because as I was reading the documentation, I thought about it.
Yeah, the question came up at council, I believe, in regards to John Adams too.
Mhm.
And we have some preliminary plans that have come in for that pad that's right adjacent to the west of this actual site.
Mhm.
That may address somewhat of that traffic congestion with some internal access through that site. But yeah, we'll take a note.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Whitney.
I feel
Have
like
any
most of all my questions were answered. I was concerned about the traffic affecting the school, John Adams. I know that's been a hot topic lately, and it's a big problem that we're dealing with. I still am not clear. I don't have an electric car, so yet I'm not quite understanding what's a level 3, and is that for an EV and a car or just EV?
We have a resident expert here on the planning
John-
commission who gave me a nice tutorial this morning on all this, and I am briefed and
Happy to
much
yield
more
the floor.
knowledgeable. So yes, exactly.
The short of it is the level 2 is like what you would have at your home. It's a 220 and can do about 7 kilowatts per hour. So you could get from 0 to 80% maybe overnight, which isn't really working in a retail environment.
Yeah. it's
At
not
level
quick enough.
3, depending whether it's 150 or 300 kilowatts, can fill a car to 80% in 20 minutes, depending on the car.
Nice. Okay, it's not a supercharged, but it's quick.
It's comparable to Tesla's supercharger, but for
Okay.
all EVs, not just Tesla.
Okay, nice. And we have 4 of those available. Okay, great.
Yeah,
I'm
the only
excited about that.
technicality is if the capacity of the charger is split between both cars, or if each one has the full 150,
Kind of slows it down.
and then you would get half of the 150 or 75 each.
Uh-huh.
That's a technical thing on the actual pedestal, but
My inquiry came from a resident who's on his 3rd electric car. And so he was very anxious for
Yeah,
us to have another place in the city.
yeah, we need
And,
it.
and, he said, well, make sure it's going to be a level 3 because
Okay.
yeah.
okay.
he's electrical engineer retired, so he understands all that stuff. But yeah, that 20 normally it's 20 minutes for 80%, which for 99% of the people is very, very good.
Yeah.
And, when you start getting into commercial vehicles and all, it's a different story altogether. But, for the typical car.
I would just add that I'm doing some research on this after I spoke to Commissioner Reedy. The building code is what requires us to put these EV spaces in, and they only require 2020 or 2040. They're not requiring level 3 at this point. So I'm not sure if it's in our purview to require the level 3. Maybe, but
What is
it's-
being proposed?
it's a building code requirement.
Right.
But
what
they
is-
they are proposing level 3
Level
here.
3.
Yeah,
So we're
because
not-
level 2 is essentially useless with,
We're
yeah.
not requiring it, but they're.
they're
going to
doing
level
it.
3,
They're
and
doing
that-
it. Yeah.
That's important because we need to communicate with the public about.
Yeah, of
what's
course.
there.
Yeah.
It's better to get a Cadillac. start.
Yeah,
You're
well, thank you. I appreciate that you're doing that and going above and beyond the requirements. And those are my only questions.
Just a follow-up question to, I guess, what Commissioner Reedy was talking about. maybe just a little clarification. It's great putting a level 3, appreciate that. Is that going to be shared where it essentially isn't level 3, like if two are going at the same time, or are they going to be separate so that it's always level 3 power? I know we can't like require it, but I'm just curious, just so that people know as well. 'Cause I know we hear stories about long lines and all kinds of stuff, so.
We can ask the applicant of that for further clarification, if you. please.
Sure.
The other thing is people who own electric vehicles, they know all this stuff.
Yeah.
Because they have to deal with it, as they go along.
I don't own one, so this is all new to me.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Ahmad Gaderi with ANS Engineering. The units that we're putting in, just to clarify, there's 2 units. They're a supercharger. They're about 200 amps to 300 amps each, depending on the type of unit we put in. They're supercharger and they're level 3. And they don't split that way, but each nozzle will have its equal capacity to supercharge.
Okay.
And we have the 2, depending on what kind, as you know, depending on what kind you buy, sometimes they come in with, like, for the lack of a better word, they have 1 nozzle, but these are dual nozzles. So the 2 units would energize 4 cars at the same time. They can.
Excellent. And then just follow up on that, since I'm not familiar with how charging happens, I assume there's a charge to these ones. It's not going to be free, right?
To be honest, I don't know about the rates and all that.
Yeah.
But so again, my apologies, I don't have that
Oh,
information.
no, that's fine.
So there's a fee for it, so.
Yeah, okay.
You could plan on a fee. And incidentally, I read an article, a friend of mine sent me that the first all electric charging gas, I don't want to call it a gas station, but
Service station.
it's going to have all kinds of services that will appeal to people for 20 minutes or whatever time.
Right.
So it's going to be all kinds of retailing operations. I forget where it was being built, but it's the future.
Mhm.
It's the future, particularly here in California, because we're ahead of the rest of the country. But these are very good questions that are being asked.
Yeah. The only other, I want to thank Travis for meeting with me earlier. I had a few questions, and so he was able to clarify a few things for me. I think this is a good thing in Twelve Bridges. There's been one service station for a long time, and I think, the free market competition is good, to help with gas prices, and some friendly competition is always good. And then also the convenience. I know I commute to Sacramento every day. I was telling Travis my pity story about this a little bit, but living in 12 Bridges, it is a little harder to, if you're need a little bit of gas, making all those turns to go to the one gas station there, but this one's just kind of a straight shot.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. And then just even servicing, the population just keeps growing over there. So definitely seems needed amongst the grand plan of, I also, got to hear a little bit about the plans that are going to be going around there. So it sounds like it'll be a nice addition. That's all I have for now.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Thank you all for some good questions. Now we'll, I think, open up the public hearing. Unless did you want to say something, sir?
So I'm just here to answer any questions. So thank you for your time. And also, before I forget, I want to thank your great staff. Fantastic. So we're thankful that they were able to
Great.
help us, and they've done nothing but a great job. So thank you.
It's possible that during the public hearing, we may have some questions
I'm
asked,
here.
and we may need you
Yes,
to
sir.
respond
I'm here.
accordingly. So please don't leave.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll open the public hearing. We have any people in the audience that would like to address us on this particular agenda item? Please come up to the microphone. Excuse me, ma'am, to the microphone over there. We're- We record these meetings and they're also broadcasted, so we need your comments to go into the mic.
Okay, this is just a simple comment, because I drive my grandson to his school, and I use the 12 Bridges, turning left to E Joiner, and I take him around 8 o'clock. And the traffic there is already bad. So I'm really concerned about the traffic on this area if they build whatever they're gonna build over there. Thank you.
I'll have a very positive comment to share with you when we close the public hearing. You'll be glad what I'm going to share with you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public that would like to address?
Chairman Gilbert, I did not receive any cards and there are no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, we're at the point where we'll close the public hearing. I'll respond. I can respond now, ma'am, to your comment. When you come down 12 Bridges, to Joyner, there's, depending which direction you're on 12 Bridges, one direction has 2 left turn lanes. One has 1 left turn lane. And I have a little bit of traffic background. And I talked to the city manager about that. They already are planning, and as soon as they can, are going to install a second left turn lane where we have one. Of course, the signalization and the striping and the signage, and there's a lot more to it than just saying we got 2 lanes. But soon you'll see a second one go in, which will give a lot of relief. Because what I noticed when I came to that intersection in the morning, 8 o'clock, the busy time, all the cars could make the turn. And so then it becomes dangerous because somebody's trying to make the yellow and sometimes the red is a yellow. And so by allowing twice as many cars to make the turn, and it's already, the lanes are already there for the turns, that will afford us some relief. But that's going to be a busy intersection. That's like, you know, in terms of the city, that's probably going to become one of our busiest of all intersections as we build out everything else around there. So, you know, maybe in the future, we'll have ways to move our traffic in a way that some cars can avoid that intersection. That's in the future, but I thought I'd share that with you because it does address the concern that you and other parents have when you're taking the kids to school in the morning and you're fighting all the commuter traffic and everything else that's going on. At this point, I'll bring it back to the commission for any comments or action. We have 3 resolutions in front of us.
I move approval of resolution 2023-21 approving the project.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any comments from this? Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Hutchison,
Yes.
Commissioner Reedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Eklund,
Yes.
Commissioner Eric Johnson,
Yes.
and Chairman Gilbert.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Resolution 2023-22. Look for someone to propose that. You're on a roll.
Oh, all right. I move approval of resolution 2023-22 for a conditional use permit for the drive-through on this project.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Vice Chair Hutchison,
Yes.
Commissioner Reedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Eklund,
Yes.
Commissioner Eric Johnson,
Yes.
Chairman Gilbert.
Yes, motion passes 5-0.
Okay. I move approval of resolution 2023-23 for a conditional use permit for the alcohol sales for this project.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Roll call.
Vice Chair Hutchison,
Yes.
Commissioner Eric Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Eklund,
Yes.
Commissioner Reedy,
Yes.
Chairman Gilbert.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. The applicant have anything else that they want to share with us? Let me ask you a question. When can I get in there to pump my gas? You're going to start right away. Huh? Good,
Right.
good. We love to hear that. And so now we'll move to item number 10, general business. We do not have any general business this evening. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Item 11, commissioner comments. I'll start down the end with Whitney.
Nope, I do not have any comments.
No comments.
For me, I would only follow up on the code thing about level 2 and 3, and that maybe looking at making our code be level 3 for these type of environments, given the utility or lack thereof of 2.
No further comments.
And the chair has no comments. With that, our meeting is adjourned. Short and sweet. And I can't wait to see the money come into the treasury.